and I made him watch.
So, recording for a second time, huh?
Yeah. Things happen,
Mm-hmm.
and we pay the price.
And it's okay. It's fine.
Yeah.
And mistakes happen. It wasn't even really like a mistake. It was just an accident.
Yeah.
Now, back to our regular scheduled program. Hello and welcome to And I Made Him Watch, a podcast where we watch weird movies and delve into some just how strange they really are. I'm your host, Danny Page, and here with me forever and always, because love never dies, the filmmaker and my husband, Troy Allen. How are you, darling?
I am doing fantastic, and I hope all of our listeners at home are doing fantastic as well. How are you doing?
You sounded very robotic when you said that.
Also referred to as autistic. Anyways.
Gosh.
I'm doing good. I've learned a lot this past week, and I'm excited to be working on my own screenplay again. Yep. Still in sort of like a research phase for that. Looking forward to a lot of new movies coming out.
Yes.
Long Legs.
Yeah,
looking forward to that.
Fucking terrifying.
Pretty wild.
Yeah.
Nicolas Cage, I feel like he gets a bad rap. In the past decade or so.
He did get a bad rap for a little while in the early 2010s, but
yeah.
I think ever since he had that movie with Pedro Pascal, he's come up a little bit better. What was that? What was the name of that movie?
Oh, that was the Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
Great movie. If you haven't seen it,
you
should check it out for sure.
It's entertaining. So it hasn't been a while because we've recorded this episode prior, but it's been a while since we've put our episode out.
Yep.
It's been a very busy summer. I got really sick, and then you got sick, and then I hurt my neck, which caused us to take a break, and that lasted a lot longer than I anticipated. And then I went on a trip last month. So the whole month of June, we didn't get a chance to record at all.
Yeah, no, it's been a little over a month since our last episode was released, and for that we are truly sorry. But here we are again, back at it.
Yep.
Here
we are, back at it, yes.
Yeah, so hopefully, this episode and all the episodes to come are exactly what you've been waiting for.
Mm-hmm. And it's okay to take a break every now and then anyway. So that was fine.
Yeah.
I enjoyed our break. I missed making the podcast though, but it definitely was a little something we needed.
Yeah.
And,
for sure.
And it made me realize that I actually really like doing this and I miss doing it. So here we are.
Yeah.
And with some little changes, we're getting used to the whole podcast thing still because this isn't something either of us have ever done. And so we're still learning as we go. And I'm listening to the feedback we're getting and trying to consider that feedback and learning from it.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's all you can do, is just take it in stride.
So I made you watch Ghost Story from 1981. And it's one of those grandpa movies. Where a group of rich white men complain about the ghosts of their murder victim haunting and killing them off one by one. And I'm on the ghost side in this one. And I gave it a 5 out of 10.
Yeah, it wasn't a bad movie. It was definitely one of those mediocre movies. And it definitely came across to me sort of like A Christmas Story, you'll shoot your eye out, kid.
Yes.
That sort of thing. So, but yeah, all in all, it wasn't terrible.
It's not terrible. It's a little bit of a slow burn. It is. It's a slow burn of a movie.
Yeah.
But once it gets to the drama and the good bits, it's decent. It's decent. So Ghost Story is a 1981 American horror film directed by John Irving. The movie is based off the 1979 novel of the same name by Peter Straub.
Peter Straub?
Yeah, Peter Straub. He was an American horror writer born in 1943 in Milwaukee. He's famous for Ghost Story, and he also is famous for teaming up with Stephen King. They wrote Talisman together and Black House. His other books include Shadowland, Floating Dragon, and the Blue Rose Trilogy. He passed away on September 4th, 2022.
Yeah. I would be interested in seeing, or at least reading, some of his other work, especially with Stephen King. I'm a huge Stephen King fan.
Are you?
Yeah, I love Stephen King. I'm not a very big reader.
You're not. You like the movies people make of Stephen King's work.
Yeah.
That does not mean you're a Stephen King fan.
Listen, it's the same stuff. Okay.
No. As someone who has read Stephen King and then watched movies based off of Stephen King's work, they're a bit different.
I will be honest, though. Stephen King is not a very good film director. If you've ever seen Maximum Overdrive, that is the one film that he's ever directed. And after that, he said he'd never direct another film. It was terrible. I'm pretty sure he was just coked out of his mind the whole time.
Please don't get us sued by Stephen King.
Hey, man.
We don't mean it. It's just jokes.
It's just what I've read, okay? I don't know if that's true or not. Okay, that's just what I read.
So, Ghost Story is notable for being one of the first last films to feature several legendary actors from Hollywood's golden age, including Fred Astaire, Melvin Douglas, Douglas Fairbanks Jr., and John Houseman. Yeah. Our good guy Ricky is portrayed by Fred Astaire. He was a iconic American dancer, singer, and actor born in 1899 from Omaha. He had a few memorable films like Top Hat and Swing Time. He was known for his elegance and innovative cinematography. He starred in classics such as Holiday Inn and The Easter Parade. He passed away on June 22nd, 1987.
That was before either of ours time.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. But, I mean, Fred Astaire is one of those, household names. Even to this day, I feel like people, at least the older generations, would know who Fred Astaire is, or was. But, yeah, he's amongst a long list of famous actors in this movie.
Yes. Melvin Douglas played Dr. Jaffrey. And his name should ring a bell for you and our listeners. Douglas played the Senator Carmichael only a year before in The Changeling. Ghost Story was actually the last movie Douglas was in. And just a recap, Melvin Douglas was an American actor born in Macon, Georgia.
Yay.
And then he was critically acclaimed, winning Academy Awards and Tony Awards, and he passed away on August 4th, 1981.
Yeah, I knew he seemed familiar, but it was one of those faces I was like, yeah, I've probably seen him in dozens
But
of
now
things.
that you know.
Yeah, now that I know, I can see it.
Yes.
Poor Senator Carmichael.
He didn't seem like a great guy. Mayor Wanderley is played by Douglas Fairbanks Jr. He was born December 9th, 1909 in New York City. He was the son of the silent film star Douglas Fairbanks. And during World War II, he served in the U.S. Navy. After the war, he continued acting, and then he passed away on May 7th in 2000.
Wow. Yeah, we've been to Hollywood Forever Cemetery where him and his father are buried.
Yes.
And I do remember, I feel like his tomb was rather prominent because I don't remember, was it him or his father that was buried in that big, or interred in that big mausoleum that's in the middle of the lake out there?
I
think that's his father. Do you recall?
I think it is his father.
Yeah.
I can't recall exactly.
Yeah.
We have the directory inside.
Yeah.
In my room. I have it displayed.
Yeah.
So
I'm sure we'll wind up going back at some point anyways.
Yes.
So
the final Chowder member, Sears, is portrayed by John Houseman. Born September 22nd, 1902 in Bucharest, Romania. He began his career in theater and co-founded the Mercury Theater with Orson Welles, and he passed away on October 31st, 1988.
Hey, I was alive.
You were alive.
Halloween after I was born.
Barely
Fancy.
A month old.
I love Halloween.
2 months. Over a little month.
Yeah, a little over a month.
So Don Warnerly is played by American actor Craig Wasson. Wasson. Born March 15th, 1954. He gained recognition in the late 70s and 80s. His work in television included guest appearance on popular shows like Hill Street Blues and Murder, She Wrote. He retired from acting in 2011.
Wow, so that wasn't that long ago.
Nope. And then our hero and the founder of the Girl Boss Club, Eva or Alma, is played by the stunning Alice Krige. Alice Krige is a South African actress born June 28, 1954 in Upington, South Africa. Known for her strong screen presence and depth of character, Alice Krige continues to be a respected and influential actress in the entertainment industry.
Yeah, she was kind of scary in this.
She was great.
Yeah. I mean, I wasn't quite sure if she was just like crazy or possessed in this movie. Kind of wild though.
So in 1978, Universal Pictures acquired the rights to the novel Ghost Story for $225,000. John Irving was approached by producer Burt Weisbord. Weisbord.
Yeah.
To helm the film after his successful direction of British television movie Haunted the Ferryman. He kind of wanted a full British cast and crew, so that did happen. And despite being relatively new to Hollywood, Irving assembled a team of British filmmakers and aimed for a distinctively European aesthetic in the cinematography, intending for the film to evoke that picturesque charm of A Christmas Child. Going back to what you were saying about A Christmas Story.
Yeah.
I mean, it was purposely made to look very, enchanted almost, I guess, where they were. Well, I mean, it's New England in the winter.
Yeah. Well, you definitely checked all the boxes there.
Filming occurred in Saratoga Springs, New York, Woodstock, Vermont, the Union Station in Albany, New York. The Florida-based scenes were captured in Delran and New Smyrna Beach, while New York City scenes were authentically shot on location in Waterside Plaza, and then additional stuff was Universal Studios in Los Angeles.
Yeah, we've been there.
We have been there. We've been there a few times, just a handful. So, the movie begins with a handful of old white men crying in their beds. Hey. And I love it.
Relatable.
I love rich old white men crying.
Oh, smells like money.
Money, right. The opening credits roll until we hear the voice of a man finishing up a ghost story. We are introduced to the Chowder Society, which consists of 4 members. Businessman Ricky Hawthorne, lawyer Sears James, physician John Jaffery, and Mayor Edward Charles Wonderly. The old school special effects in this movie are either amazing or corny, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, I found the opening to be very strange, but we'll get into that here shortly.
They do what old men do. Complain about changing of times and how men won't be wearing ties anymore in 10 years, but for only funerals and weddings, which they're not wrong. They conclude their meeting and go home.
Yeah. Well, with the opening, just a bunch of old men just having nightmares in their fucking beds and stuff. Crying. It was really difficult.
Don't forget the crying.
They were crying and sweating profusely.
They were very sweaty men. Yes.
Bro, you should drink some water, dude. Maybe some electrolytes. because you are dehydrated. Anyways, yeah, I didn't know exactly what to think at first, so very crazy.
We cut to David, who is one of Mayor Wanderly's sons, and he's confronting a woman in his apartment that refuses to answer any of his questions, and she's just laying in the bed naked with her back to him. Finally, David pulls the woman to reveal her face, and it's this disgusting, rotting face, which scares him. He stumbles back and crashes through a window, falling through to his death.
Yeah, that scene, I thought that there was some really good shots, particularly the one you're in the bathroom and the camera is facing out the door, but on the right side of the frame you can see the bathtub, and the whole bathroom is bathed in this, it's almost like a salmonish pink, yeah, but beyond the threshold of the door, the bedroom is bathed in this like aqua teal sort of color, and the contrast between the two colors is amazing. Like, it's really well thought out.
Oh yeah.
And not to mention, when he crashes out of the window and falls to his death, obviously, like, for it being the 1980s, I thought the special effects were pretty good. Yeah, and then the fact that we've got male frontal nudity.
Full frontal nudity. Like, full bush.
Frankenbeans and everything,
full
dude.
Late 70s, early 80s bush.
And for this to be 1981, like, that's pretty risque for the time.
Oh, yeah.
So, I felt like it started off pretty good. Like, we really got a good sense of, like, what we're in for.
I think when I first watched it, I laughed a little bit because I wasn't expecting the full frontal. Mm-hmm. And also the just corny kind of green screen effect it is, which I know it's part of the times or whatever. But it really, like, it caught me off guard a little bit.
Yeah.
The whole thing. The penis and then the choppy green screen, it tickled me.
I don't know. I thought the dude was just going to kind of try to helicopter his way out of there. Shoo.
Stop.
Anyways.
Mayor Wanderly calls his other son and tells him the news of his brother dying. Mayor Wanderly isn't very happy with his son's lifestyle or how he looks. And we must remember that this movie was made in that awkward time, the late 70s, early 80s. So you got a lot of that. Your appearance is important, and if you have shaggy or slightly longer hair than the norm, you're going to look like a hippie, and you're going to look bad for your family type vibe.
Being a hippie is okay.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Make love, not war.
I mean, your lifestyle is your lifestyle. Like, how you want to live and be happy is up to you. But back in those times, they really were about, like, appearances, especially if you're a mayor or, any sort of, like, rich white guy, Things are a bit awkward at the Waterleys. Donnie wants to talk about what's happening to his brother, and his dad just stonewalls him. It appears that Don hasn't been able to hold down a job, and his dad's super upset about that, and that's what he wants to focus on. He really wants to focus on all about Don and not what happened to David. Don thinks that his brother's death wasn't an accident and reveals that he knew David's fiancée and slept with her.
I was like, bro, you dog. Man, sleeping with your brother's girl, bro? Jesus.
So the funeral happens and it's normal. The night after the funeral, Don finds his father having a nightmare, and Don and his father have a heart-to-heart after this. And Mayor Wanderly asks Don to go fishing, and he says, "Sure, Dad, I'll go fishing with you." And then he asks him to stick around a few days to help him out with the house. And Don's like, "Of course I will." Yeah. So Don isn't like a bad son. He's not a deadbeat son or anything like that. Like, he is actually wanting to connect with his father. His father just doesn't want to connect about certain things.
Yeah, I mean, his father's that, older generation that, doesn't think feelings exist, you know. And then I was also like, screaming in your sleep. So relatable, dude. Again, hell yeah, I'm here for it.
So there's more old men crying in their sleep. Also, this weird, mysterious woman's voice that seems to be haunting these men. And that night, Mayor Wonderly also has a bad dream. And we have this POV of his son, David's wedding. And there are all these strange sounds, and the bride and groom see the Chowder Society. And when the bride lifts her veil, Wonderly wakes up.
Yeah, the shots right before that of the older men sleeping and stuff, and then you see Sears, and Sears is just fucking coated in fucking sweat. He's so sweaty. I don't really understand how you can sweat that much in your sleep. I mean, I feel like I sleep hot.
Yeah, we both sleep hot.
But I don't know if I've ever, like, sweat that profusely.
Not unless I've had if I've had a fever, I can get that sweaty.
Yeah.
It's disgusting.
Yeah.
Let's not talk about it.
Okay.
So in the morning, the mayor begins to wander around in a snowstorm, seeming to be dazed and confused. He's seeing an apparition of David and follows him through the streets to a bridge. He hears the voice of a woman call to him, and when he turns around, a zombie woman jumps at him, causing him to fall from the bridge. And he falls into this frozen lake, and the ice cracks, and he just sinks into it. A nearby waste disposable guy watches him from his truck as the mayor falls into the icy water.
I'll be honest though, the special effects of her in that shot though were pretty scary.
Oh yeah, the special effects of the horror and the gore.
Yeah.
In this movie are pretty great.
I most definitely would have fell off that fuck bridge.
Oh yeah. I think yes. Obviously.
Just shit my pants and fall off the bridge. Not particularly in that order though.
Oh, probably in that order.
I'd hit the ground and just look like a tube of toothpaste.
So it's complete chaos after the mayor's death for the rest of the Chowder Society. The three remaining members meet and talk details. Sears is sent home after having an emotional response to the death of his friend. Aw, how dare he?
Yeah.
How dare he be upset his friend died?
Listen, man, there's no crying in the Chowder Society, okay?
Don begins to go through his father's belongings and comes across a mysterious photo of the 4 members of the Chowder Society and a woman whose face is blurred. John and Rick have a talk about the bad dreams that the members have been having, and John is like, it's just dreams. There's no reason to freak out.
Yeah, bro.
It's fine.
Just keep it to your fucking self, dude. Nobody cares.
Ricky makes a visit to the old abandoned house, or to an old abandoned house, where he hears a woman laughing. He follows the sound to the stairs and discovers 2 squatters have taken up the place.
Fucking squatters, dude.
The brothers, Finney and Gregory, claim that the owner has given them permission to live in the house. And Ricky's like, there is no owner. You can't blah, 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 blah. And Finney and Gregory is, or mostly Gregory is like, what are you going to do about it? Like,
yeah, man.
Yeah, after the brothers threaten Ricky, he retreats while inside Gregory and Finney talk and make plans with a mysterious woman's voice.
Yeah, but, you know, on a side note, that is a nice fucking house.
Yes, if it was fixed up.
It needs some work, yes.
Yeah.
But.
And guess what? Ricky snitches to the cops, like, automatically. Like, just straight to the cops.
Kid didn't even hesitate, bro.
It's declared that Mayor Waterley's committed suicide. And it's revealed that Gregory and Finney have escaped a mental hospital a month ago. And Gregory has was in some kind of cult. And it was extremely dangerous.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Not Gregory.
Not Gregory.
Spoopy.
Ricky and Don have dinner, and Ricky has this whole thing about sidewalks, like a whole speech about sidewalks. It's weird.
Does it have anything to do with step on the crack and break your mama's back?
I don't think he mentioned that part.
Oh, damn it.
No, I don't think he mentioned that. You watched the same movie I did. Did he mention it?
I probably blanked out. I probably spaced out during this scene.
Ricky lets Don know that he thinks the group is in danger. And Don shows him the picture he found and asks who the woman is in the photo. Meanwhile, Officer Walt is over at the brothers' abandoned house looking to toss them out. This house is in rough shape, but it looked nice. I did make a comment about
you
that.
did.
I did write about the house. Obviously, I'm going to write about the house.
It is a nice house.
It is a nice house. At home, Don is still going through things and hears some sort of mechanical sound and goes upstairs to investigate. And the sound is coming from the old elevator, one of those that only fit one person at a time. And it descends, and Don sees Gregory inside. Gregory starts to recite the Lord's Prayer, and Don is just like, what the fuck?
I think Don was as surprised as I was that there was a fucking elevator in the house.
I think he knew it was an elevator.
I don't know.
I think he was more surprised that it was running.
Could have been, but it's not often that you see an elevator in somebody's house.
No, you gotta be rich.
Yeah, that's like old money rich.
That's rich.
Yeah.
Gregory and Don have a back and forth, and Gregory is just being a creep.
Yeah.
Then Finney jump scares the shit out of Don and the audience, because it scared the shit out of me, before pulling a gold locket from his mouth. Like, the kid pops up in between these railing of the stairs and just goes bleh. He really does. He just goes bleh and hands the locket. Or it drops or something.
That's gross. Yeah. That's how you get fucking Ebola.
So then Gregory and Finney just disappear into the night. And Don's stuck with this saliva-covered locket.
Yeah, I would have I'd have washed it. Anyways, Gregory's got this real, like, Richard Ramirez Night Stalker sort of vibe, but before Richard Ramirez actually did his thing. It was super weird, but I digress.
So the Chowder Society have their meeting, and Ricky lets the others know that Don found a picture of her, quote unquote. And Don crashes the meeting then, and Don says he wants to buy his way into the Chowder Society with a ghost story. Don goes on to tell a story about his time teaching in Orlando. He begins to see a new girl named Alma, and things seem to be going really well, but things get a little weird at Alma's apartment. She claims to be afraid of thunder, and Don invites himself to stay the night. They have sex and all that, and Alma won't talk about herself, but coaxes Don to talk about himself. The two lovers get frisky when they get caught at school by a staff member, and the staff member just kind of like stands there awkwardly and then just walks away. And it really seems like Alma is really into public displays of affection, because there's that time they're at like a restaurant, and she puts his hand on the table on her. Yeah.
But I have to say though, that woman was kind of funny. She was like, "Oh, I ain't supposed to be here. I ain't supposed to hear this."
I see nothing. Slowly, Alma is becoming a bit weird. Either way, the two get engaged, but Alma is still being weird about wanting to get married in Don's hometown. Eventually, Don calls off his relationship with Alma, who disappears completely from his life. Don becomes depressed and just starts to wander around. He then finds out his brother, David, has gotten engaged to the same Alma. Don tries to warn him that Alma is fucking nuts, but his brother just shrugs it off, and we all know what happened to David. Also, the 80s interior design of Alma's apartment is just to die for. You've got lots of blush colors, some greens, bamboo, and wick furniture. It's really nice.
Yeah,
it brings back memories.
Yeah, but it had a very tropical bungalow type feel. It being Florida.
In Florida, yes, obviously.
Yeah, but yeah, she was freaky, bro.
Ew, she was a freak. Alma is the original. That's the OG right there.
I was like, yo,
I want to live like Alma.
You're gonna live vicariously through fucking crazy ass lady. But yeah, I was like, she's either crazy or possessed one. Something ain't adding up here.
Definitely. After his story, Don tries to convince the Chowder Society that Alma is the threat. And Don also shows them the necklace Alma owned that Gregory and Finney had given him back at the house. So that's the necklace that Finney went bleh with, you know. John has a bit of a breakdown, wanting them to figure out what's going on, but the other Chowder members are still just ignoring him. Like, anytime either of these men has any sign of, like, emotions or, like, panic or anything, they're just like, cut it out. Meh. Stop it.
How dare you have emotions here?
John has a nightmare that night and ends up attacking his wife, Millie, in his sleep. The next morning, Millie tries to get John to tell her about his nightmares, but he's reluctant. Meanwhile, a mysterious woman has also stopped by to see John because he's a doctor and he has a practice in his house. But is gone by the time Millie comes back downstairs to tell her that John isn't able to see her.
Yeah, I was like, you know, you don't have to strangle your wife, dude. Like, if you're not happy in your marriage, like, just tell her.
He didn't mean to strangle her. He was having a nightmare. It's different.
Likely story.
So then John has a heart attack.
Hey.
But he and Millie can't find his medication.
Damn.
And Millie tells him it had to be the woman visiting that took the medication.
No, what it was Millie getting back at his ass. Teach you to strangle somebody. Yeah. Good luck with your fucking heart attack, bitch. Anyways.
So John's kind of in his office going through all these shelves. He's got so much medicine in his office. And Millie's trying to call the ambulance or something. And as John's looking around his office, Eva, then surprises John with her grotesque appearance and scares him to death.
She was spoopy.
She was super spoopy.
Yep.
I love her.
Mm-hmm.
The last two members then tell Don the story of Eva Golly and confess that the Chowder Society killed her. 50 years ago, in the 1930s, the group had fallen in love with a young, flirtatious girl named Eva Golly. She actually was an heiress and had a bunch of her own money. And the group seems to get along with each other, even as Eva spends time with the guys, getting to know them and sharing dances at parties and just being very social. It was her boys, you know. The Chowder Society began to try to convince Eva to stay with them forever because she was only there for the season and they really want her to just stick around in New England. But Eva seems to have chosen the young Warderly as her lover, but he has some manhood issues and he can't get it up.
He got that ED.
So after the night where they try to have sex or whatever and he can't get it up, Ricky then takes Eva home, and then the Chowder Society get drunk together and make a toast to the mysteries of women. And then the guys ask Ned, or Wonderly, about his time with Eva, and he lies about it. He says it was amazing or something like that, but he just straight up lies.
I mean, isn't it kind of weird that 4 guys are courting the same girl?
Nah, it's fine. No.
I mean, was it normal back then?
Probably.
I don't know.
And honestly, there's only one really courting her at this point, and that's Warderly.
Yeah,
but the rest of them did like her.
Yeah, they all wanted.
And I'm going to say it again. If polyamory was more accepted, this woman wouldn't have died. This woman wouldn't be dead. She'd be living a long life with her 4 husbands. Okay? They would have been happy.
True.
Imagine the income from these 4 guys.
I mean, she could just have her OnlyFans and it'd be fine.
Stop. She's an heiress already. She doesn't have to do an OnlyFans. Anyway, so after they question him about his time with Alma, or Eva, sorry, the group, drunk off their asses, head over to Eva's. And it turns out Eva's house is the abandoned house that Gregory and Finney have been staying in.
And it is nice.
The guys dance with Eva, and before Sears can have his dance, Eva says they should get to bed because they're all drunk off their asses. Sears argues with her and insults her, and when she attempts to tell the group about Ned's infancy, he pushes her into a stone fireplace, hitting her head and knocking her out. Freaking out, they load her body into a car and push it into the pond, trying to cover up the murder. And while the car sinks, Eva stirs inside, trying to get free.
The fact that she wasn't even dead, and they just loaded her up.
And one of them is a doctor. They're supposed to be studying to be a doctor.
Allegedly, yeah.
Anyway.
Fucking dudes, man.
Dude.
Yeah. It definitely made me feel a lot less bad about what was happening to them now.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
cool. I was rooting for Alma the whole time.
Yeah, fuck them up, girl. Fuck them up.
So, Ricky and Don are convinced that Eva and Alma are the same person. Don gets the Chowder Society to go back to Eva's old house where Gregory and Finney are staying. While going up the stairs, Don falls through the rotting stairs and breaks his leg, and Sears then leaves to go get help for Don. Ricky searches the house by himself, not finding Gregory or Finney in the house. On the road, Sears is rushing to town, but is confronted by a specter of Eva, which causes him to run off the road and crash. Finney then pops up from behind Sears and kills him. It looks like Finney's eating him.
Yeah, that kid.
Finney was like, argh.
Yeah, that kid went chomp chomp. It was pretty bad.
Back at Eva's, Ricky is restless and goes out into the snow to get someone to help Don. Outside the house, he's picked up by Gregory. Gregory then drives Ricky off into the snow, and Gregory's telling Ricky that Eva had promised him an immortal life. Ricky pulls out a blade. He got that, and stabs Gregory, causing them to crash.
It's a fucking steak knife. Because right before they went to Eva's house, there's an insert shot of Ricky grabbing a steak knife and shoving it in his pocket.
He gotta be prepared. He gotta have that blade on him.
Maybe she wants to have dinner.
Don's still waiting at the house, and the walls start to pour out water.
Like, bro, your house is leaking.
Also, Ricky survived the crash, by the way, and Don is confronted by the ghost of Alma and Eva as he waits, who was dressed in a white wedding dress. And for some reason, instead of getting Don a doctor, Ricky calls the police to start getting the car towed from the pond that's been down there for 50 years.
That is definitely the more pressing matter for sure.
Yeah. Not getting the guy out of the haunted house.
Fuck that dude.
Yeah, taking... You know how long it would have taken for them to get that car out? They would have to find it. They would have to hitch it. And then pull it all the way out.
Yeah, I mean, in reality, Don would have died.
And the cops have to get there first, too.
Yeah.
They have to get a tow truck, too.
Yeah.
It's too much.
It's
too much. So Eva Alma harasses Don as the car is being pulled from the pond, revealing her true form, a wet and decaying corpse.
Ooh.
The car is pulled from the pond, but the doors have rusted together. Ricky finally pulls the door open and reveals the real corpse of Eva, causing the ghost to disappear.
Bye-bye.
And that is how the movie ends.
Yeah, I mean, the special effects were really done in this movie. Also, I really hope that Ricky went to jail. For obstructing justice, murder.
I mean, after that's beyond statutes of limitation, probably.
I don't think so, man.
50 years?
I mean, there's a body.
50 years?
So?
I don't know. I would want him to go to jail too, but I don't think he went to jail. They probably, your ass is 80?
Me personally, I don't think it matters, because there's 80, 90-year-old fucking Nazis that are still going to jail for the fucking Holocaust shit.
Nice.
So I don't fucking know. I'm just saying, justice deserves to be served. That's all I'm saying.
I'm gonna say it again. Polyamory would have saved these people's lives.
Well, she got most of them. She got most of them.
She got all of them but one. And a son, though. She did get a son.
True.
David didn't deserve that. It wasn't David's fault.
No.
David didn't deserve that. But Payback's a bitch, I guess. And also, didn't none of the other guys have descendants?
I guess not.
They were all married.
Yeah. I mean, they all old as fucking...
dirt.
Yeah, dude. So, I don't know. I do not know, but...
What would you give this movie? What's your rating?
Probably like either a 5 or a 6 is hard.
Really?
I do like some of the cinematography. Some of the cinematography is really good. Special effects are really good. The story is kind of bland.
Yes, that's the reason why it's getting a 5 for me, is the story. It was a very slow burn. Mm-hmm. It's a nice story. There was a bit of a twist at the end, but it's a little bland. A little okay. Yeah. Foreshadowing is a lot, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. So, but yeah, I'd probably give it like a 6.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Where can they find us? Where are we?
We are, so mainly our main spot is on Spotify.
Yeah.
You can check us out there. Give us a follow. Make sure you leave a rating. Really helps out the podcast. Helps us out. Helps us, push out these episodes. But you can also find us on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. I'm not sure if Google Podcasts is still around. Castbox. Basically wherever you find your podcasts.
Just Google it.
Just Google it.
Like, we should be one of the very first things on Google.
You can also find us at our website, www.andImadehimwatch.com. You can check out bios for us. We're hoping to have maybe some merch eventually.
We're talking about it.
We're talking about it. Also talking about maybe starting a Patreon to give you guys inside access to making episodes and all that stuff.
Whatever.
Just looking at some sort of organic, natural growth.
Also, share our stuff, please.
Yeah, share
the
us.
podcast. If you have a family member or a friend who likes horror movies and scary movies, or just weird movies, or movies in general, they might like us.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe. Yeah. If not, that's fine. You don't have to like us.
Yeah. And also, check us out on TikTok.
Until it's gone.
Until it's gone. I've got some videos on there right now. I'm really trying to get back into making videos. We were kind of shadow banned for a little bit.
Yeah, we were.
So, that's my fault, I guess. But, yeah, I'm trying to get back on there and make some more videos and stuff. So, please leave us some comments. Send us some messages of what you would want to hear about or see from us, and we would do our best to accommodate.
Mm-hmm. Also, rest in peace, Shelley Duvall.
Yes, R.I.P. Shelley Duvall. If you're sticking around for next week's intermissions episode, that is going to be all about Shelley Duvall.
Yeah.
So be sure to stick around. That's going to be a great episode.
All right.
But yeah, that's all we've got for you for today. And hopefully you enjoyed this episode. And if not, well, that's too bad. It wasn't meant for you.
Say your thing.
Anyways, keep those popcorn bowls ready, and we'll catch you next time.
Bye!
And that wraps up our deep dive into the chilling 1981 classic Ghost Story. A huge shout out to Dani for her incredible research that brought so much depth to our discussion. And of course, I handled the technical production to make sure everything sounds just right for you, our listeners. We'd also like to extend our gratitude to Tori Wolf and Epidemic Sound for providing the fantastic music that sets the perfect tone for our podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, please like, follow, and share it with your friends. Your support helps us keep bringing you more great content. Thanks for listening, and we'll catch you in the next episode of And I Made Him Watch.